What's going on, guys? Welcome back to this week's exclusive segment from the greatest podcast on turf. I'm Ryan.
I'm Anthony.
And before we get into anything, as we told you guys last week, we are doing a fantasy football fan listener league. We've had a few people apply and we are still accepting submissions. We are going to make the team's final on Friday.
They will be announced Monday in the exclusive segment. Sorry to cut you off. Monday, the people in the league, we will be sending you guys a message if you got in with the location of the draft. You guys know pretty much all the other details that we had to, but the location will be sent to you if you win. So be on the lookout in your DMs next Friday or so.
On Friday, it is the 16th. That is 1 month before the draft. That is when we are closing everything. That's all you have. That's all the time you got. All you have to do is send us a DM showing us that you're subscried. It's that simple. It's that easy.
Like last
it's going to be a good
video,
time.
Subscribe. I mean, getting the food, getting it catered. We're gonna have a sticker board. It's gonna be a good time. You don't want to miss out. So be sure to just all you gotta do is like our video, show you're subscribed, send a screenshot to our DM. I mean, it's easy. I mean, yeah, pretty much. But before we get into the video, we'd like to thank our sponsor, Little Italy. Today was their very first day with the dining room open. We record in here. Open now, bar back there, beer and wine. You can come get some pizza, grab a drink while you're waiting if you're 21, of course. No underage drinking, no. But yeah, Little Italy, best cheesesteaks and best pizza. I'm the pizza man now. I'm the cheesesteak man. Enough said.
Ready to get into it?
Cool. So for this week's episode, this is our My Guys episode. We actually got this video from
The Fantasy Footballers. It's a podcast I listen to a lot. It's probably one of the only podcasts that I do listen to. Be sure to check those guys out because this idea is 100% from them.
Yeah, we don't know them. We're just giving credit because why not? But
give credit where credit is due.
Give credit where credit's due. So to start off, our fantasy football My Guys. So you want to start or should I start?
I'll start with my, early round selection guy, and that is Najee Harris. I'm huge on Najee Harris. I actually heard a stat from a YouTube video I was watching, and there was about 60 or so running backs since 2013 that have had 300 touches, and only 2 of those running backs finished below RB13. I think Najee Harris is easily slated for 18 touches a game. 18 touches a game equivalates to 300 touches. I think that's easy for him. I think Pittsburgh is going to run that man into the ground. I know the O-line's not great. I get it. I know the offense isn't great.
Horrible.
I get it. But if you're talking about getting touches, Najee Harris will be ran into the ground, and that is perfect for fantasy. That is a bell cow running back. You don't see that much in the NFL right now. You see a lot of 1A and 1B type of guys. You see a lot of guys stealing touchdowns. Najee Harris is the man. Benny Snell won't be a problem. There won't be any other problems on his team. Najee Harris is the man, and if he's any bit of talent at all, he is going to be a safe pick. I'm taking him in a second, and I'm not thinking twice about it.
I don't agree with that. I'm not sold on the offensive line. The only successful running back I can think of that's had a poor offensive line is Joe Mixon, and Joe Mixon's pretty good. So, we'll see what Najee Harris can do, but I'm not sold on it. The offensive line is not very good at all. The Steelers' offense likes to flow through the run game. That's where they struggled last year because they had no run game. But
they also had James Conner, who is as slow as me.
But they don't have an offensive line now. James Conner couldn't do it behind a decent offensive line. Najee Harris isn't going to be able to do it behind a bad offensive line.
Like I said, of 60 or so running backs since 2013 that have had 300 touches, only 2 were behind RB13. 2.
If you've been here since day one, Ryan Sawyer, analytics guy.
I like my chances. I like my numbers.
I don't agree with that one, but I guess I'll start with my boring one. I'm very high on these guys.
That is very boring. I don't want you to even say it.
Fantasy football, every single draft, I'm targeting the Washington football team's defense in the final 4 rounds. Be on the lookout for me to take them. I might take them in the, 15 rounds? I'll take them in the 11th round if I have to. If defenses start going off the board, I'm going to grab them. I don't care. Washington football team, they're going to have the best defense in the league this year. Enough said, I'm high on them. Enough said, I'm targeting them in every single draft I'm in. I'm in like 3 or 4.
I don't like that. I don't think the Washington football team's offense is going to explode, which means that that defense is going to be on the field a lot.
We'll touch on them in a little bit.
the defense could cause turnovers. I don't see how you can have a defense as a my guy, but
They're like Saxon.
They're
my guys.
I'll let you do your thing.
They're my guys.
So I'll jump to another good one that's not boring that you just said. CeeDee Lamb.
I like that
As
one.
you can see, got the Cowboy shirt on. CeeDee Lamb is slated for a big year this year. Last year he worked out of the slot a lot, and I think this year he's actually going to push Malcolm Gallup out of 2 wide receiver sets. I think CeeDee Lamb's going to be on the field a ton. I think he's actually going to be Dak Prescott's favorite target. You got Amari Cooper getting number 1 corners. CeeDee Lamb can be in the slot and he can be outside. CeeDee Lamb, I think, is slated to this offense in general is slated to be a top 5 offense in terms of scoring, and I think that's anybody can say that. The defense is atrocious. They're going to need to score a lot of points. Dak Prescott is going to have to throw a lot of touchdowns. CeeDee Lamb is going to catch a lot of them. I mean, the team is stacked. You got CeeDee Lamb, you got Amari Cooper, you got Zeke. I know that there's going to be a lot of people that need to be fed, but CeeDee Lamb, I think, is the easiest one to feed. He can be inside, he can be outside. It doesn't matter with him. Give me CeeDee Lamb, and probably the early fourth. I'll take him. I'll even think about it late third, honestly. I think CeeDee Lamb is going to be a breakout this year. I'm very high on him. And if you're in a league where it's like, family members, expect CeeDee Lamb to fall, because a lot of people don't draft based on expectations. They draft based on what happened last year. It's what happened last year. And last year there was a pretty bad taste in people's mouths just because of Andy Dalton and Ben DiNucci being the quarterbacks. But when you got Dak Prescott back there throwing like he was on pace for, you got a full off season with Dak and CeeDee. I think he's going to explode this year.
I like that one. Yeah, I think you pretty much touched all of the points there pretty much. And this next guy, I guess, kind of stays in the same boat. Number 2 on my list. I mean, this guy's he's been good every year. Terry McLaurin. He's definitely one of my guys. I would take him probably round 2, even maybe round 3. If he's there, depending on where you pick. I would take him the middle, late round 2 at the earliest. Terry McLaurin, he's been very good with all the bumps he's had at quarterback. I mean, he's been a 1,000-yard receiver, and every year he's been in the league for the past 3 or 4 years, and he's had Kyle Allen, Alex Smith, Dwayne Haskins, Case Keenum throwing him the ball, and he's been able to put up 1,000 yards while being the number 1 receiver. Here's another guy that can play on the outside, play in the slot. He's been getting attention from number 1 corners, and he still gets 1,000 yards a season. It's pretty good to me, and he scores too. He's Fitzpatrick's number 1 guy, as Ryan always likes to say. Fitzpatrick's a gunslinger. They got Curtis Samuel in the offense. Him and Terry McLaurin are tight. Curtis Samuel will be able to, especially if they get him going in the gadget sets, he'll be able to kind of have to make them think twice about, like Terry McLaurin, like they got Curtis Samuel too. Curtis Samuel's not on a high level, but Curtis Samuel definitely draws the attention compared to, couldn't even tell you who their second option was before they bought in Curtis Samuel. So
it was Paul Richardson.
Paul Richardson, there we go. So yeah, I mean, Terry McLaurin, he's good every year. He's been good every year with bums at quarterback. He's finally got a decent option. Terry McLaurin, he's a fantasy stud. I'm definitely targeting him in all of my drafts.
Yeah, I mean, I like the player in Terry McLaurin. It's just a situation that's kind of fishy with me. You got a new quarterback in Ryan Fitzpatrick, and it's whether or not the Washington football team is going to let him off the leash. The Washington football team has a great defense. I could see Washington being like, let's score 14 points a game, put it all on defense, and send it type of deal. I could see them holding him back, and I could see them just feeding Antonio Gibson. I like Terry McLaurin as a player 100%. And if the situation is there, the situation's right, Terry McLaurin's going to be a stud.
And another thing you got to think, Terry McLaurin gets to play against Trayvon Diggs twice a year, and he gets to play against Darius Slay twice a year. Enough said.
Yeah, I mean, I can agree with the Trayvon Diggs one.
Yep.
I don't know if I'd be jumping for joy with Darius Slay, but
Darius Slay's
he's
consistent.
Right. Anyways, I'll jump to my last guy, and you've heard me say his name a lot. Another Boomer Sooner guy. It's Kyler Murray. If he's there in the 5th round, I'm taking him. I know, don't draft quarterbacks early. I know that. I understand that. I'm a big guy in that. But if Kyler Murray's there in the 5th round and he's going after guys like, I don't know, Pat Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen,
Herbert,
absolutely no shot. I'm taking Kyler Murray in the 5th round. because he's going to probably have 1,000 rushing yards. He's going to score a lot of rushing touchdowns. He's going to be, in my opinion, the #1 quarterback.
You're saying he's
And I'm
putting up
taking
Lamar Jackson MVP numbers.
He is my dark horse MVP. I'm taking Kyler Murray in the 5th. Definitely taking him in the 6th. And I'm not going to think twice about it. Could be wrong, but I'm doing it. It's my guy.
I hope you're right, because for my final guy, who I'm targeting in almost all my drafts, I was thinking about this list earlier, trying to figure out who my guys are, and I went back and looked at some of the fantasy mock drafts I did, and in almost every single one of my drafts, I would say I've done about 10 so far, and I would say in about 5 or 6 of them, I've gotten the Washington football team defense, Terry McLaurin, and DeAndre Hopkins. I think DeAndre Hopkins is in for a monster year, like we saw from him in Houston when he had... Did he play with Matt Schaub?
I think he did.
He played with Matt Schaub. He had Deshaun Watson for a few years, but
Brian Hoyer,
AJ McCarron, some games even. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins, similar to Terry McLaurin, he's had Deshaun Watson, Deshaun Watson's best quarterback he's had. Deshaun Watson's a good quarterback when he's playing, but he's had bums too. He's played good with bums at quarterback. He's got Kyler Ryan's dark horse MVP. Last year, I think it was tough because they didn't have the full offseason, which we saw a lot of teams. They didn't get to click and have the full offseason together. But Kyler's got DeAndre Hopkins now. DeAndre Hopkins, when DeAndre Hopkins is doing his thing, he's arguably the best receiver in football. I mean, he's right up there. He can catch. He can do it all. He's good for all 3 levels. He can run short routes. He's a great route runner. He has amazing hands.
Best hands in the league.
I think him and Kyler are going to click this year, and I think DeAndre Hopkins is in for a massive year, and I think he could walk away with the receiving title this year.
Yeah, I see Arizona being a top 5 offense. I don't think the defense is going to set the world on fire. Secondary's not the greatest. Yeah, I'm sold on DeAndre Hopkins. I think Kyler Murray's going to be a stud. It's really that simple.
Yeah, Kyler's got, they got AJ Green, Rondale Moore, Christian Kirk, Chase Edmonds,
James Conner.
They traded for Rodney Hudson, didn't they? They got Rodney Hudson. They helped out that offensive line. I mean, Kyler Murray's got a lot of weapons. He's got a better offensive line than he's had.
And he had a full offseason with DeAndre Hopkins. There's not much more you can ask for.
I can't wait for our sleeper video.
Yeah.
I have a lot of sleeper. I was thinking about earlier, not going to like some of them. But
check that out next week.
Next week, sleeper video. Next week, we're coming back with our sleepers for fantasy. We're coming back with another mock draft fantasy. We're having a special guest on, my brother Mike. He's going to be with us next week. I know he's been chomping at the bit to get on. He's finally coming on next week, so we'll be discussing sleepers with him. He'll be in our fantasy mock draft, and he'll be on the podcast where we discuss our top 20 wide receivers going into the fantasy football season. Be sure to check that out next week. Check out this week's episode of the podcast where we talked about
top 25 or so running backs, gave our opinions on why, it's going to happen like that. His opinion with Najee Harris was horrible. Be sure to tune in on that one. Let's not even talk about it. It's horrible.
We also
Be sure to
reviewed
tune in.
back when I was a fantasy football casual last year, we kind of touched on some of the guys on my top running back list who was on there, or say who wasn't on there. So be sure to check that one out. We didn't say at the beginning of the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, keep showing us love. You guys have been killing it. Our last week's video, we got 100 views. Podcast did real good, so be sure to keep showing us love. Keep checking us out. Don't forget, apply for the Fantasy League. Submit. All you got to do is like a video, subscribe to us, send a screenshot with proof. I mean, it's not much. I mean, hey, if you get in, you get to come kick it with us, be in a fantasy league, maybe win some money. Probably not, because we're the experts and we're just too good. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next week, guys.
Yep. See ya.
Peace.